Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm Clark Kent, but you call me Superman, as most of you all know me as. And right here with me is, well, introduce yourself. I'm Batman. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Bruce.
You said my name.
Sorry, Bruce. Everybody watching this knows who we are.
How?
Bruce, never mind. Anyway, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be discussing a huge topic in Christian circles. And it's been a debated topic ever since, well, forever.
Yeah, it's a really difficult topic for some people.
And that topic is, can Christians watch secular movies? So, Bruce, can you explain what a secular movie is?
What do you mean, Clark? Of course people know what a secular movie is. It's a movie. It's basically just a movie with a random plot.
And the reason people refer to it as secular is because it's not explicitly a Christian film.
Meaning it's not something like God's Not Dead, or Fireproof, or,
What's another one? Ooh, Christian Mingle. That me and Lois actually like that one.
I don't really watch Christian movies that much. Nor do I even watch films that much. I'm too busy protecting the streets of Gotham.
Yep. Yes, Bruce, we know. Anyways. However, the concept of secular movies has been debated. There are three categories of Christians who have views on secular movies. There's A, it's totally okay that Christians could watch anything they want.
The second category, so some Christians think, absolutely not. You cannot watch secular movies at all. Because it doesn't mention God.
And if it does, it's usually saying God's name in vain.
Unfortunately.
Yes. And the third category is you just don't know. And I'd say with that third category,
actually, I do have some I am kind of mixed with the first and second category.
Okay, explain why, Bruce.
Well, you see, while some movies are good, there are some movies that are just really bad. I don't mean bad plot. I mean just have bad messages, have, bad lessons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can understand. That's why discernment is required.
Yes, but then a lot of people talk about so-called hidden agendas.
Yes, I've heard of the whole leftist, satanic, evil Hollywood thing. I have seen all of it. All of the internet. Now, do you say that the entertainment industry is inherently evil, Bruce?
Well, it really depends on who's in the industry. Is it a bunch of people that just want to create art, or a bunch of people that just want to attack God?
You're right, it does depend. Because there are diverse type of people in the entertainment industry, especially in the movie industry. In fact, I would describe it as a mixed bag of agendas.
Yeah, that's probably the best description I've ever heard.
Now, is there anything sinful about watching a secular movie? Well, some people say, yes, it is. It is sinful. Because they believe that because it doesn't glorify God, it's
evil or because it it's just, not Christian enough. Which I find pretty ridiculous. Why does a story have to be explicitly Christian for you to enjoy it? I mean, the Bible already exists. True, but there can be Christian themes in a story. That is true, Clark. I mean, look at the superhero genre. It promotes a lot of good values and a lot of good themes. I stop bad guys, you stop bad guys. Except you're more lighthearted. My ways are more dark. Yeah, I I can see why that could be seen as problematic. Oh, definitely. I mean, but then again, a lot of people have their problem with the superhero genre. People see us as false idols or something. What defines a false idol, Clark, isn't isn't that you're automatically one. Is if you seek to be one. For example, Clark, have you seek to be worshipped by the people of Metropolis? No, I've only tried to help people, and I just want to be a good person. I agree. I've been trying to do that with Gotham, but I guess my methods weren't the best, and some people just see me as a crackhead vigilante. I mean, they're not totally wrong about that. What did you say? Nothing. Sorry. And some people even have, and there's also sci-fi, like it's fun, it's super sciencey, like Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars is pretty good. But actually, I prefer Star Trek more. Why? It's more serious. I don't know, but Star Wars is more fun. Look, can we just focus on the video? Also, the only thing better than Star Trek is, never mind, nothing's better than Star Trek. Anyway, except for Jesus. Anyway, what's the next genre? There's also fantasy. Yes, the magic aspect. Take Harry Potter for example. Some people like the values of friendship in the story, but then people say, "Oh no, it's taking your child witchcraft." So people say that all fantasy is bad. But then again, they appreciate works like Narnia, Lord of the Rings, classic Disney. Yeah, nobody wants modern woke Disney. Yep. Anyway, but then there's people that don't even like those because of certain reasons. I do find it kind of ridiculous. Like, I know people have their own convictions, but that doesn't make that thing evil. I mean, I know some people that can get convicted from cheese. Does it make cheese evil? Nope. Exactly. Anyways, it's like we said, it's a very debated topic. And it's not really the genre, it's not really the genres of movies people have a problem with, even though they do have a problem with some genres. It's that people are worried that watching something secular will take their time away from God. I can understand that concern. Sometimes I get wrapped up in my own life that I forget the Most High. But I try not to. Yes, me too. When I started out, I used to be so focused on justice, but then I realized He is who truly matters. Now, back on the topic of secular movies, based on some biblical research, we don't think it is a sin to watch secular movies or engage in anything secular. Yes, because it's not prohibited in the Bible. In fact, the Apostle Paul even engaged with pagan poets. And honestly, paganism is a lot more worse than secularism. Agreed. And
I believe we can engage with things, even if they're deemed worldly.
Because when God is talking about do not love the world, He's not saying you have to isolate yourself from the world. He's saying that you have to be discerning. So while there are a lot of good movies, good shows, you have to be discerning because there's also a lot of bad movies and bad shows.
Yep. For example, I love a good romance movie, but if there's an explicit sex scene, I will take it off.
Or if I'm watching a horror movie and the film gets too bloody or starts glorifying the evil, I will take that immediately off because it does not sit well with my spirit.
Yep. That's some good insight, Bruce. By the way, what are your favorite genres of movies?
Mystery, crime dramas, horrors.
For me, it's been sci-fi, romance, fantasy, stuff like that.
Nice. Now, how can we give the audience some good insight when engaging with secular movies?
Well, let's go to the word for that. Philippians 4:8. What is true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable, excellent, praiseworthy, think of such things. So basically, some people take this verse and say, if most of the film is, all the film isn't that, and there's darkness in it, then it should be condemned. By that logic, you can't read the Bible.
No, you cannot. I mean, you can read the Bible, but you know what I mean.
Yes, so, even if a story depicts evil, doesn't mean it's glorifying it. For example, take the Avengers, for example, when Loki is bringing the Chitauri to Earth to try and kill all the humans and stuff. And the Avengers defeat Loki.
Yeah, they defeated the puny god so that the real god could keep doing his job.
Yep. And that pretty much lines with Philippians 4:8, you know? Commendable, praiseworthy, heroes defeating evil villains.
Yeah, just like how we stopped Steppenwolf and Darkseid and the other guy.
Yeah, DC has not been doing many Justice League films.
Nope.
Yep. Anyways, on to the next verse. 1 Corinthians 6:12. This verse reminds us that while all things are lawful, not all things are beneficial. So, for example, you can watch a lot of things, you know, even if they have some problematic elements. That's where discernment comes in. But we have to remember, while all things are lawful, not all things are beneficial. Now, just because it's not beneficial, does that mean we can't enjoy it?
Well, some would say because it's not beneficial that it's unnecessary. But no, sometimes we need to relax and enjoy ourselves while we're watching something.
Yeah, sometimes me and Lois, when I get home, I just sit down with Lois and we watch something nice together.
And when I get home, I basically just ask Alfred to change to the latest channel or program.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to remember, while it's lawful, it's always beneficial. Sometimes we have to do things other than watch movies, you know? Like our work, our relationships. But, so that's why movies are really to be in moderation. And because it's not always beneficial.
Agreed. On to the next verse. Psalm 10, Psalm 101 free. This verse speaks of setting anything worthless before one's eyes. So this can be interpreted as a call to be mindful of content we consume and avoid things that are morally harmful and distracting. So like I said with my horror movies, the depiction of evil isn't necessarily bad. I mean, have you read the Bible?
Or watch The Passion of Christ?
Yep. But if it starts glorifying the evil, making it look like something cool and awesome, then it's definitely wicked. Turn that crap off.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. However, just because it depicts something wicked does not mean it's wicked. Now, if it's glorifying the wickedness, yeah, that piece of media is pretty wicked. Yeah,
And not wicked in the cool, modern, secular sense. I mean, like, the original wicked, like, actually evil stuff, unholy stuff.
definitely. Now for the next verse. Matthew 6:22-23. This passage uses the metaphor of the eye of the lamp of the body, suggesting that when we focus on influences our entire body, it highlights the potential for darkness to enter through what we watch. So yeah, we should be mindful of what we watch. And even it depicts evil, but not in a glorifying way. Some minds can be weaker and could, potentially make us stumble. For example, there could be too much sexual content in a show
Or too much violence.
However, so we might not have to let that into our minds.
No. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. So, but still, the depiction of evil isn't necessarily bad. It's basically shining truth on the matter.
Definitely. And, however, we should be careful, Definitely, because some things are just meant to lead you astray, to put darkness in you.
But then there are some things that just depict evil, only later to condemn it. Like the very book behind us.
Yep. Matthew 5:28. This was once against lustful thoughts. You know it. We basically addressed this.
Bruce, yeah, let's just go down.
Romans 1:18-21. This passage discusses the suppression of truth and consequences of ungodliness. It can be relevant when analyze movies with false ideologies or disregard for moral boundaries.
I agree. Because some movies unintentionally, or maybe even intentionally, contradict the Bible with themes that do not align with what is godly.
Yep. Now, for example, like we said, a lustful sexual film or a movie that, has too much violence.
Or a movie that glorifies the demonic and stuff.
Yeah, so we should be mindful of what content we, consume.
Definitely. Now,
oh, this part looks interesting. Let's go here.
okay.
Alright.
There are actually biblical references in movies. For example, in Shang-Chi Redemption, they use "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except for me." In Maze Runner, a character phrases, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends."
So sometimes while there are movies that use the Bible only to twist it. There are movies that use the Bible in its context to glorify good.
Like Shang-Chi and Maze.
Definitely. Anyways, now we come to pretty much what's the end of the video. Now, can Christians watch secular movies?
We believe
The answer is yes.
with discernment.
Definitely. Because, like the Apostle Paul says,
All things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial.
so. But that doesn't mean that movies are. That doesn't mean that movies are evil. There are a lot of good movies out there. There are movies that promote good, have good themes, are just pure entertainment.
Agreed. Even movies with problematic themes could have some truth to them.
Definitely. In fact, I actually enjoyed watching Happy Gilmore, ignoring its adult jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam Sandler may be a Jew, but he definitely knows how to touch the heart.
Definitely. And of course, my new movie with David Cordsweet looks pretty good. I'd say that aligns with Philippians 4:8.
I wish you could say the same about my movies, Clark.
What do you mean?
Well, you know I'm all about the darkness and stuff. And you know I'm trying to be a light in darkness.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you're a good line darkness. You represent, even if you're just like a bat, you represent hope in your city.
I guess that's true. Thank you, Clark.
You're welcome. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
And make sure to like and subscribe.
And do you think Christians can watch secular movies? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Let me know. Just let me know. Just let us know in the comments, you know? Let us know in the comments. And while we believe the answer is yes, a lot of people won't agree.
But the Bible never addresses movies, so it doesn't ban it, so it's not a sin to watch it. But we should have discernment, moderation, and avoiding idolatry.
Agreed. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace. God bless.